Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. We are back at it for another Friday morning live. I gotta tell you, don't like doing this, but Friday. Oh, there I am. I gotta tell you that I'm back on Facebook. I know it's not like, I'm not like, I know that not everyone knew I was even gone. You hear that all the time, though. I'm taking a break from Facebook, and nobody notices. I don't mean to say that negatively or maybe condescending. I just think everyone is so busy with their own lives. It's like, well, nobody really noticed. I'm pretty sure most people didn't notice I was off Facebook. It was only a couple days, but I mean, it's crazy to think about. Like, we live on this platform, like we live on social media. It's crazy. Like the world is. And the thing is, like, just it's not just how can I say, like, it's not just one platform. Like, there's 100 platforms. And then, of course, with this platform, I was like, well, if I can't get on this platform, I'll just use another one. So our time, I'm just gonna pull myself up here, our time isn't like substituted for something better. It's just transitioned to a different social media platform. It sounds crazy, like it really is substituted for something better. Suzanne says, good to have you back. Thank you so much, Suzanne. But what I was saying is that you just go somewhere else. And that's what I did. I learned Telegram. So, but the thing is that most of our audience is on Facebook, which is, if like we can't get on here. That's why we try to get people on our newsletter. But a lot of people don't check their emails, or they don't want to be on a newsletter. They just want what's convenient. So whatever's convenient is, most people open up their newsfeed and flip through Facebook. Like, we do a lot of work on Instagram as well, but a lot of people, some people aren't on Instagram. But then we have our groups on Facebook, and you can't make groups on Instagram right now. So it did put me in a difficult position to run a business. But then there's other ways around that. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I actually enjoyed a bit of a break, but I'm also happy to be back, because like you don't realize how much you contribute, or how much you appreciate being around people, especially when you're used to something. So the first day, I think I was only off for 2 or 3 days, but the first morning and much of the day kind of felt upside down, because I was out of my regular routine of posting and commenting. So I mean, but it is nice to be back. And then there's the whole censorship thing. Like, I don't have no idea what I did. And that's the problem, is that it's their platform. They can do whatever they want. They can completely wipe out our page and our audience overnight, which is kind of what they did by locking me out with no explanation. Don't know what I did wrong. Don't really think I did something against their community standards. But they could change that in a day. They could say, hey, our community standards have changed. Our community standards have changed. You can't do this anymore. And then you don't know that what you can't do, and you do it, and then they wipe you out. It makes it a really difficult position when you're like building and growing your business in one area. And then the same, like, you're meeting connections, and you're like, there's a lot of people that are exclusively on Facebook, and they're not on other platforms. Like, we also use email, of course. We have our newsletters we send out. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and we just got on Telegram. It's another one we're on. I don't really use LinkedIn or Twitter. I mean, we're on there, but I don't use it. So, but the problem is, not everyone is on those other platforms. So I wasn't able to reach out to some of our people. Wasn't able to connect with our customers. And then even if you send emails, some people don't check their emails. So it's kind of a difficult situation. And like, I never want to put all our eggs in one basket, or all on one platform. But still, if you're using one platform the majority of the time, then you still kind of are, even though you're spreading yourselves out. So at any rate, that's what happened. That was going on. That's what was going on with me. But we're moving forward as usual. That's what we do. We always find a way. Like, always find a way you think like you see the restaurants or other businesses that are really struggling right now, and you think like what happened, like we think what happened, like if that happens to us, what do we do? Or I'm always being proactive, like how can we look to different avenues or different areas in case something like that happens, in case we run through those same issues. And we run through like we have some of our own issues, like shipping has been an issue, ordering product in has been an issue, like shipping in general. Most of you probably have heard shipping's a big issue right now, but it's not just the shipping, it's not just bringing in raw material, it's also shipping out. Excuse me, I'm just going to get that out of the way because I was fighting it a bit. Does anyone know why you yawn? I don't think anyone actually knows why you yawn. Why we yawn. I think that I researched that a couple times and nothing really came up. But what was I gonna say? Shipping. So shipping isn't like they had some issues with some pilots down in the U.S. that said no, exercising their freedom of speech. And hey, mom. So that was it. So that's an issue. So if not, so there's backup of planes. If the planes aren't all going out, then then the planes that carry the cargo, like FedEx, UPS, those couriers, the planes bring them to different areas. So then there's a backlog. We had a couple of shipments that didn't get to where they were supposed to go on time, and that's just how it goes. I mean, we got to if we're a company that ships products, then we got to deal with a bit of a backlash there of trying to figure out how to get everyone their product. So, but that's how it goes. That's business. Like we're okay with it. Like you got to change and adapt. And I see a lot of businesses having a hard time out there. They're not really making any adjustments or any changes. So they're going to continue to struggle until they find their way. Until they find a way to adjust. I don't think things aren't gonna go back to normal. Whatever we knew as we knew normal, things aren't going back there. And I think a lot of people are still waiting for that to happen. So until we start changing and adapting and adjusting, things aren't going to get any better. A lot of businesses are thriving and flourishing right now, but many more are struggling because they don't really realize they got to change. They have to, like, everyone has to change with the times. It doesn't matter what kind of industry you're in. We always have to change and adapt. And same thing with social media. Some businesses still really aren't even on social media. And like, that's where most of the marketing comes from, right? I gotta tell you, I just got this reishi, organic reishi mushroom. This was actually a gift. And this has rooibos and orange peel in it. And it is fantastic. I had to tell you, I started putting this in my water bottle in the evening, and I put this in so I had my regular vitamin water in the morning, and then in the evening in the evening or later afternoon, I started putting this in my water. And there's a couple nights I didn't sleep very well. My mind was just like buzzing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "Could it be the tea?" Because like reishi mushroom has tons of healing benefits, and I'd imagine it's more like an adaptogen, so it'll help out in different areas for different people. And so I was like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think it was the tea. So I had the tea again the next day, and the same thing. I didn't really sleep all that well, so I was like, okay, no more tea. No more tea in the afternoon. No more reishi tea. Morning, Annette. So I got to tell you, we had an absolute blast yesterday. I haven't put those pictures up. I tried to make a reel. I don't know if you guys are on, if you Facebookers are on Instagram, but I tried to make a reel of some pictures. Oh my gosh, has it been a long week? It's been a long week. I tried to make a reel of pictures on Instagram of our Halloween. So we've been messing around. We've been having some fun with Halloween recently. And we had a friend that bought a bunch of skeletons. And so I started putting the skeletons around the house and like at tables and different positions on a like a horse chair. And I took some pictures of that. But that was fun. That was fun. And then I got to tell you, so we did this thing. I haven't put any pictures up on Facebook yet. We just did it last night. But we carved pumpkins. We carved pumpkins. Or sorry, yeah, pumpkins. We carved them. Jack-o'-lanterns. And then there's this thing going on around a TikTok of you like take pictures of yourself with your pumpkins on your head. It was awesome. I think there was, how many was us? 2, 4, 7 of us, I think. And we took pictures in a country field with the pumpkins on our head. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. And I love Halloween. I love Halloween. And then it's hard to like find other people that want to do stuff for Halloween. So usually we carve a pumpkin, but then often that pumpkin is later. We do the pumpkin like right around Halloween, so we don't get the full effect. Like just, does anyone else like Halloween? Anyone else Halloween fans here? So it's not like the full, like Halloween's already started. We've already carved pumpkins. We already took some fun pictures. So that's a little bit different than not at all. So I'll just run through some quick Halloween tips and then I'll let you guys carry on with your morning. But so when it comes to Halloween, I think it's super important to understand that the candies have already started. Like Halloween is on the 31st of October. Oh, I gotta tell you real quick. I was in Australia one year, and they don't really do Halloween. I was in Australia for Halloween, and it wasn't very enjoyable because they don't really celebrate it. So that was a bit disappointing. But we're often in, last couple of years we were in LA for Halloween. Well, maybe last year they didn't do any Halloween stuff, but the 2 years before we were in LA for Halloween, and it was so much fun. It was more for adults because you have like adults dressing up and they're sitting outside. Of course, the weather's much nicer and they're outside and they're having having dinner outside, or they're dressed up, or they're trick or treating, and more adults dress up with kids than here, and I think it's really cool how they do it. And for here, like maybe I don't know if it's because of the small town, but also we went to Calgary one year. I thought maybe small town would be more kids orientated, which is fine. Like it's a great holiday or it's a great thing for kids too. But I want to have fun too. I want to have some Halloween fun. But so then we went to this haunted house a couple years in Calgary. A couple years ago, maybe it's probably longer than that, 3 years ago. And we were like the oldest ones there. It was all like teenagers or like early college maybe. And I just thought it wasn't all that fun. You want to go places where you don't feel like you're the oldest person there. So, and then you're for some reason in Alberta, I don't know, maybe Canada, or maybe it was just the venue. It seems like Halloween is more for kids, which again I'm okay with, but I still want to do some fun things too. Like in LA, we went to the Queen Mary, that's in Long Beach, and it's supposed to be a haunted ship, and they did such a good job. We had an absolute blast of like dressing up, and that was mostly adults too. Like it was crazy. Like they were really like, I don't know if they were paid actors or they had like real makeup on, and they were chasing you around. And Suzanne says, I'm not much of a Halloween person. That's okay. I don't think there's a ton of Halloween people out there, to be honest with you. I think that they're few and far between. I don't know what it is about Halloween. I like the dressing up, and it makes me feel like a kid. Like you use your imagination. Like I like horror movies, but I like the old school. I think Halloween just came out with a new one though. But I'm more of like an old school, like 80s Halloween guy. When they're not scary, they're more like funny. They're like entertaining. Do you have like Jason standing behind a pillar and he's just looking? That's not scary. He's just looking at you like excuse me. If someone was like standing outside your window, I mean that's a bit scary. There are scary horror movies, but those old 80s ones are like, or when the guy's like walking after you and the one person's running and then the other guy, I don't know what you call him, the villain is like walking. and the person's like running and they like keep tripping and they're falling and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. It's funny, but I still like them. I don't know why. My mom says I love to see the little ones having fun. Yeah, for sure, we do too. But unfortunately, we never get many kids here. In LA, we have a back house, so we don't get any kids at all. But we do drive. We ride our bikes down the Strand, and that's along the beach. And there's a bunch of houses there, and there's tons of kids all dressed up. That's really cool to see. And then Alora says, you've got to go to my family's at Halloween. No costume, no entry. We do prizes and Halloween-themed food. Though full house decorations, it's the best. We do Halloween hard. That is awesome. I would love to come over. I was gonna say I would love to have that thing. I think that we didn't really have that. Didn't have so much Halloween. Did we, Mom? We didn't have like our own. It wasn't like a thing in our house. We did decorate outside. One time we had a really cool decoration. My mom got some dry ice, and we had like dry ice was like coming out of like a pot, and then people were coming to the door. That was a blast. That was one of my favorite Halloweens in the house that we grew up in. But I do see some pictures, and I do see some people like get like really into it. Alora, I hope I'm saying your name right. But we love having people. Yeah, okay, I'm coming. What's the address? I don't know if you jumped in, Alora, when I first started talking, but we actually carved pumpkins and we put the pumpkins on our head and we took a bunch of pictures. I'll put those up on Facebook and Instagram here shortly after this video. I didn't have time this morning, but we had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. And then one of our friends bought he bought like 6 or 7 like Halloween skeletons. And they were just sitting there on the table. So I opened them up and I was like putting them all around the house. It was so much fun. We usually decorate here. We've been decorating. One year we had a pumpkin, or we had like a pumpkin head and the scarecrow, when we stuffed the scarecrow and we put him on a hay bale. And here's the thing is that we usually don't decorate for every theme. Like maybe it's an excuse, but like we both have full-time jobs and we're busy and we got things going on. A lot of things going on, so we don't always decorate. So we decorate a little bit for Halloween, almost never for Thanksgiving, but always for Christmas. At any rate, there's so much madness going on right now that we're like, we need some joy in our lives. We're making a commitment to this year to decorate for every theme. And so this year we got a bunch of pumpkins all around the house, and we put a like welcome fall, or like how people decorate. Like we don't usually do that, but so anyways, this year, you were saying it right. Thank you. I missed it, but I definitely want to see the poem. Okay, I'll put some pictures up. I don't know if you follow this page all the time, but I could send you some of our pictures. They're amazing. But so I put we had the scarecrow on a hay bale, and we're gonna do that again this year. And I thought like maybe I should sit there with the pumpkin head this year and scare the kids, but. Here's the thing is that we don't get many kids. We actually had one year, their kids were all across the street, but I think there's a house, like the house over here is empty. No one lives there. And then this house over there on the other side of us, I think they're renters and they don't decorate. They don't do anything. So if there's, like we know as kids when we were doing trick-or-treating, if the lights were off, you don't go to that house. And it was really nice that we had the door open and we had like some Halloween music and we had some Halloween candy, and the kids were across the street because one of the corner houses was all decorated and the light was all lit up. And we get like a dozen kids maybe, and we really like it. Like the kids they're cute and adorable, and we like love to talk to them in their costumes. So we only had a few kids come by, and there were kids across the street, and I was like, hey kids, we got some candy over here. Oh my gosh. It sounds ridiculous. I gotta tell you, I don't know. We were laughing so hard yesterday, and it was a bit cold out, and we were out there for a few hours, and we were laughing so hard that my voice is just. I feel like it's like, but like Freddie. But I was talking to the kids. I was like, "Hey, we got candy." And Dorothy's like, I don't know if you should be doing that." I was like, "You're right. It does sound very creepy." But we got these. We actually had this Laurel. She did an amazing job. I was the Scarecrow, and Dorothy was Dorothy. We're from Wizard of Oz. Coincidentally, both our favorite movie. And she did an amazing job of like makeup for both of us. It was so much fun. But we only wore it that one night. And you sit there for an hour or more doing makeup, and then it didn't seem worth it. And then we went to that was in Calgary, and we went to that haunted house kind of place, and it was all like kids, like younger kids. So we felt a little bit out of place. But this year we're gonna go to Is anyone else doing anything for Halloween? This year we're gonna go to Calgary, I think, and they have all those pumpkins. It's advertised everywhere. They've done a really good job of marketing it, but they've got like thousands and thousands of like super like professionally done pumpkins, and I think we're gonna go check that out as well. But yeah, Halloween fun. Oh, I know I was gonna say because I was thinking about sitting on the deck and scaring the kids. But a guy did that like two or three houses down. He's newer to the area, and they decorate their house. They decorate for all seasons, which is pretty cool. I like the festivity and the festiveness. Laura says I saw that ad for the pumpkin carving thing. It looks way too cool. Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. And that's the thing. Like I feel like we got to do stuff. We have to do stuff to be like happy and joyful. We have to go out and find things because it's so easy to just sit around and be negative or feel sorry for yourself or like there's a lot of people struggling right now or not feeling fantastic mental health and physical health. So if you can go out and do stuff, even if you're not really like a Halloween person, like get out and go do stuff, have some fun. Um, but I forget what I was gonna say, but I was gonna say when we're in LA, like in a regular year, there's so much to do. Like there's haunted house. We did a haunted hayride the year after we did the Queen Mary, and it was so much fun. It really is. You got to go out and you got to do stuff. And then we wanted to do Universal Studios. They do a really good one. Like of course the tickets, depending on where you go, tickets are a bit more, but a bit more expensive. But I think if you're gonna invest in your mental health, you got to do some fun stuff once in a while. Um, but anyways, that was the year where everything kind of shut down. We didn't get a chance to go to Universal. So I'll look forward to doing that in the future. Laura says, I agree with that. Thank you so much for your participation. I was saying that the guy a few houses down, I'm pointing that way because he's literally that way. And he scared some he was dressed up and he scared some kids. And they're a little bit younger, maybe a bit too young to scare, but maybe he didn't know. I don't know. I think it was a cool idea. But we actually knew the kids who he scared. So they came up to do trick or treating. I think he ran out of the house like, rah! And the kids, we knew the kids, and they came over here. They're like traumatized. They didn't really want to come to the door, and that says we've been to Universal Studios Haunted House, not at Halloween though. It's amazing but terrifying. I think it's supposed to be terrifying. Yeah, I think that's what's the point of it. So they did a good job. I gotta tell you, when we were at the Queen Mary, like the thing is that you could have that mindset of like, it's all about your mindset. Like you could be like, oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be scary. This is gonna be a great time. It's gonna be miserable if you get there. If you already have the mindset of like whatever you're doing, doesn't even have to be Halloween. This is gonna be miserable or not fun. You're not gonna have a good time. And this was the first time we went to like a real haunted house kind of thing. And I gotta tell you, it was amazing. Like they had looked like professional, like they look like real people. So and Dorothy and I were like, we love Halloween, so I love it more than she does, but she's kind of getting into it more and more. So we're like, oh my gosh, this is a little creepy. They had like guys dressed up in costumes and like staring at you, and then they had like these, I don't know what you call them, but Hey, Leanne, I didn't know you were in here. Thank you for joining us. It is joining me. It is certainly about mindset, but I don't know what they call it when they can do like the contortionist. Like she was like on her hands like this, and she put like one leg over her shoulder and was like walking like that. I'm telling you, it was crazy. So we were freaked out walking in, and then they had like this huge, I don't know what you call it. It was like a walkway, like a huge arch, and there's a guy with a microphone, like all dressed up, like with a creepy voice, like "Welcome to." And so we walked in, and we're like, "Oh my gosh!" And then so the guy could see fear in our faces, and one of the guys like walked over, and then like Dorothy and I were like, kind of like a bit freaked out, and he saw, and he started like running at us like full sprint. And me and her were like, ah! So we take off running, and we're running like through this, it's a huge area, so we're like running in circles, and this guy's chasing us, and we lost one of our friends. Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. But that was the mindset, right? If you're like that guy's an actor, or that guy's like just dressed up, then it's just, I just don't feel like it's as much fun. Maybe we went to a bit of extreme when we were actually terrified that some guy paid to stand in a suit. It was crazy. I wish I could share that with you. I wish I could pull the pictures on the screen for you if I was more prepared, or if I had a full time producer. I actually have this program, which I'm in right now, that can pull videos and pictures on the screen. That'd be cool to show you. And it says, not a fan of being scared, but my family wanted to go, took one for the team. It's worth it. There you go. So if you didn't take one for the team, then you wouldn't have realized that it was worth it. Halloween's a different one. It's like most people don't like to be scared, I don't think. And then it takes a bit more time and effort to get dressed up, and it's more for kids. And then the other thing is the candy thing. And a lot of parents write in, and they're like, what do we do with our candy? How do we get our kids to not eat so much candy? Why does their candy need to be everywhere? And that's the thing, is that with any kind of holiday or vacation, whatever you want to call it, it starts early. Like it starts way early. So Halloween has already started. People are like, oh, it's a couple weeks till Halloween. No, it's not. It started. So you go to, I don't know what it's like now. I don't go to these places too much, but if you go to banks or you go to retail stores, you see like bowls of candy everywhere, and then you have people that are bringing in candy, like bowls of candy, or you have people that are like, oh, here's pumpkin pie or pumpkin muffins, and they're not so healthy. So the thing is that people struggle with it now, and then that's not even the hardest part. The hardest part is when you have the kids, like the kids have candy, so the kids get the candy, and they're every place they stop, they're getting candy. Then they get a huge bag of candy, so they're eating it for weeks after, and it's a struggle for parents. And of course, we know teachers, and listen to teachers talk about what candy is like to kids. Like it like doesn't say messes with their brain, but their brains are like perform differently on sugar. So the kids will try to bring Halloween candy in their lunch, and Dorothy's like, no, because she wants the kids to learn, and that's nothing to say that other teachers don't, but she's like, no, we're not doing that here. So she'll tell the parents not to bring kids candy, and if the kids bring candy in their lunch, they don't get to eat it till, I don't know what time, 2:30, 3, when they're headed out the door. Like, not dealing with that, because like you want to create a learning environment, right? And if the kids are hopped up on sugar running around the classroom in circles like we were at the Queen Mary, it's slightly different. It's a slightly different learning experience. But have you guys heard about the witch switch? I love this one. Or let me know if you've heard of anything else. But I love this idea. So what you do is, it's kind of like the Tooth Fairy. So you get your bag of candy, and one of my good friends, she did this. She's been doing this with her kids. Well, her kids are grown now, but she would let the kids pull out like a handful of their favorites, and it was just that one night. So you get to pull out a handful of your favorite candies, treats, whatever you want, and you put them to the side, and then you can eat them on. I don't know if you could eat them on certain days or what it was. They did something called Yucky Sunday, which I loved. And on Sunday they can have, it wasn't like an all day thing, but they can have like fast food, or they can have candy or chocolates or ice cream, whatever it was. But I loved it because it wasn't like an all week thing. It wasn't like a dessert every night, or it wasn't like a, oh, can we go get ice cream because it's nice out? Like whatever it is. It's like actually, we're gonna wait till Yucky Sunday, and it was like something for them to look forward to, and then it almost like a deterrence from not having treats every single night of the week. So I thought that was really cool. And then she donated the candy. She just gave the other candy away, and that was a thing from kid, like from when you're a young kid. If you're doing that at an early age and you're saying, okay, this is how much candy I get, the rest we're going to give to kids that don't have the opportunity to go trick or treating or whatever it is. Excuse me. Or whatever you choose to tell them, then that's much different than getting candy and eating candy for weeks after Halloween. And then there's the witch switch was how I initially started talking about this is that you put your bet. So you take same kind of deal. You take a handful of your candies, you take some of your favorites, and then you put your Halloween bag on the front step, and the witch will take your candy and it'll switch you for something else. And I don't know what that something else can be. I just heard, I think there's a kid in like grade 1 or 2 that got like an iPad or for their birthday, and I'm like, what? I'm not here to judge. In my opinion, my perspective, that's a bit young to be giving a kid a computer. Here's a computer for your birthday. We had some other friends that their kids were just recently, their kids are 14 years old and they don't have a cell phone, 15 years old. And some people are like, oh, it's a safety thing. I want my kids to be safe. And I think kind of think the opposite of all the things that kids can do on phones. But I also heard then I heard, so we have friends, like we all have, and there's all kinds of things that getting into all kinds of trouble. I don't know how much I should share about that, but I'm sure you guys know what could be happening with teenagers and their phones. But getting a kid started out at like a really young age, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to judge any parent for doing that, but I probably wouldn't. that's my opinion and that's my perspective. And probably wouldn't be giving kids technology that young. You see it now, like it's probably a completely different subject, but you see it now, like kids will just gravitate to phones and electronics. I think it's because it's like bright and shiny and moving. But I really like the idea of keeping kids away from electronics as long as possible, because like a youth, there's one thought process where, well, the sooner you get them on there, the sooner they'll be great at them, and then they can take over the world because everything's run by electronics now, anyways. And for me, it's like they're so naturally good at it. Like we didn't grow up with technology and phones. I was in college and I was the last person to have a cell phone. Last one of my friends to have a cell phone. That sounds crazy now, right? Because we have kids in grade 1 and 2 that have cell phones, but they're going to be good at it regardless. Like maybe they're not going to be a coder, or maybe they will be. But now they start at such a young age, and they're always around it. They always see TVs, tablets, phones, laptops. So they're going to be. It's part of their life. They're going to be much better at it than we were. And it's really cool. I see some. Usually you think, like, for me, you think it's the kids and the teenagers that are bad. And then for me, I know most of our audience is women, no offense women, but I see more women on phones. But I've also seen a couple older gentlemen on their phones, and they like love their phones. They love to like show pictures or show videos, or they're like flipping on their phone at the dinner table. And I'm like, I just think it's kind of funny that it doesn't matter. Have a good day, Mom. Thanks for joining us. I don't think it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what age. Doesn't matter what gender. Like we're so addicted to phones and technology, and it's crazy. It's really crazy. Morning, Brenda. And Vivian says, "You're brave. Rather expensive treat in the trade for candy." No kidding. That was actually a birthday gift, but I think I was just saying that you could trade. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you trade for kids. I don't think they're really going to enjoy pens and pencils like we had. Pencil crayons and like erasers, like Halloween erasers. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe you guys have some suggestions. I don't know exactly what you do, but I just think it's a great idea because it's fun. You're not just taking the candy away from the kids. You're saying, hey, the witch is coming tonight. Make sure you give her a good chunk of your candy so she gives you something nice in return. I don't know that, but I also heard. So we used to get like, I don't know if it was quarters or loonies or toonies, and I heard that kids are getting like $10 or $20 for a tooth now. And I know there's inflation going on, but I mean, come on, that's a lot of money for a tooth. So for a bag of candy, I don't know, you might have to mortgage the ranch. And it says not usually. I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure what you're referring to in it. But yeah, that seems like a lot. It's a lot for me to comprehend. But I mean, we live simply though. Like we have a few nice things. We have small places, like small homes, and we buy clothes at the thrift store. Like, but that's our lifestyle. Like that's what we like to do. I would rather go buy clothes at the thrift store than buy brand new clothes. It just makes me feel better. Like there's an overabundance of clothes. Like people throw clothes away. People have clothes um, in their closets that have price tags on them. And I'm not gonna I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm just saying, like for me personally, knowing that there's good clothes that are used that I could buy instead of buying brand new, I would rather buy used. Um, and I'm looking at my True Form gear. I'm trying not to be like I'm trying not to be a hypocrite. Like I buy new clothes, and we actually just got some new True. It's over here. It's backwards in the video. We got some new True Form gear, and that's obviously for marketing purposes. but getting like going to the thrift store, like, and that's everyone has a different opinion. My laptop is 10 years old, and I should probably get another one because because it doesn't work as efficiently as it should. Like it's a bit slow, and that's not being productive. That's not being efficient. But then I think like it still works pretty good. And then I think like what happens to it? The battery, I have to leave it plugged in most of the time. Where is I gotta check that. It's a good reminder. I'm gonna plug it in right now. It was at 100% when I started, but if I don't plug it in often, it'll die, and to replace the battery costs as much as a new computer. So, but anyways, what I think is like, well, what's going to happen to this computer? It's going to go in the junkyard. They may use some pieces, and then it's going to fill a landfill. So for me, I'm like, I don't really want to get rid of it. But that's just me. So so there's kids, and we have an old. We don't even have a TV. We don't have a TV in either of our places here or LA. And we watch Netflix sometimes on a laptop and sometimes mostly on an old tablet. And it's so old that you can't even get on the internet. Does that sound crazy? Hi, good morning, Olivia. And Brenda says the thrift store shopping is one of my favorite things to do. That's awesome, Brenda. Brenda had to find some good things at thrift stores. So there's so many hidden treasures. But anyways, that was just saying that's my perspective. We've got this old tablet, and we'll watch like one show a night, or we'll watch a movie on the weekend. That's it. It's not like, I know some people, like as soon as they wake up in the morning, they turn the TV on, fall asleep with the TV on. So, but that's a different lifestyle. Like if that's how you choose to live, then no one should be able to tell you any different. But I'm just saying, like you have someone in grade 1, like a little kid in grade 1 has a brand new piece of electronic, or who knows, maybe grade 6, or a 14-year-old, they got brand new like phones and tablets, and then you're like, it's just really hard for me to wrap. Maybe I'm just more old school. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. And then of course you have to look at the trade, right? Look, if we're talking about the witch switch, for example, look at the trade. I mean, like if you're taking candy and then you're replacing it with something that may be just as unhealthy, then it's not really a beneficial trade now, is it? But there's a bunch of different things that you can do. we're actually going to do something. So right now in our mag group, you can actually put a picture up, and we're doing a contest. If you put a picture up of your products, we have in a Halloween style, we'll put your name into a draw for a prize. And then we're also going to do, I haven't announced this yet, but maybe Brenda, you can help me out with this idea. What I'd like to do is, if you bring in like if you bring in candy, like a bag of candy, we'll weigh your candy and we'll give you the same amount in weight in bath flakes. So I thought that was a cool idea. And I know it's like, so we talked about this now, the conversation. Well, the parents aren't. So the parents are going to use the bath. So some of you that may not know, we sell magnesium bath flakes. Magnesium chloride, much different than magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salts. But the kids aren't. You put the flakes in the bath, and it's healing. It heals your sore joints, muscles, helps you recover. And so, but the kids aren't really going to be excited about bath flakes. But I said, well, that's the parents' job. So the parents are going to go. The parents are going to need to go and have that conversation and negotiation with the kids. So whatever the parent needs to trade to get the candy to give to us, so they can get a trade for the bath flakes. I don't know if that's too much. I don't know if people are going to do it. But I always want to do something around candy. I don't know what we're going to do with the candy. I feel like I should throw it in the trash can. I know that's a big waste. But maybe we donate that to the food bank. I don't know. There's probably a lot of people probably a lot of kids right now that don't have, parents that don't have money to buy candy, or kids that aren't getting candy. I mean, I'm not one of those people that I'm saying that kids should never have candy. I mean, you got to be a kid. Like, let a kid be a kid. But I think it's just like overabundance. Like, there's this huge gap between quality and substance and things that are less than and detrimental to your health. So I feel like we have way too much electronics, sugar, candy, violence. That's like way up here. There's way too much. And then you have more substance, like more conversations, more hugs, more compassion, more love. I think, food and natural food and farming, packaged food and sugar, like there's a huge gap there. And if we could find a way to close that gap. So what I'm saying is here, like, I feel like kids can have candy. They just get too much of it. Like kids can have electronics. They just get too much of it. And if we could find a way to close that gap, I think we'd be healthier as a society. And, I feel like things happen for a reason. I really do. Like, this is a very challenging time in our world, but I feel like there's silver lining and there's a positive aspect to everything. And I just think that there's going to be benefits coming here in the future that we've overused in society. There's less of the things that we need and too much of the things that we don't need. And I feel like we've come to a tipping point where that has to change for the survival of our planet, of our relationships, of our people. And I think there's going to be a lot of good to come out of the ashes when that time comes. Good morning, Sue. Brenda says, I have a client who puts mag flakes in her grandkids' baths, and she swears they go to sleep easier and faster. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And that's the topical uses of magnesium is always something that I recommend parents use on their kids first. So there's gel and there's spray, and then we have the bath flakes. So I always say use that first before you try to ingest any type of magnesium with kids. I think that's a really good entry because kids can benefit. I actually got a message from someone this morning, and they said that they haven't been sleeping forever, and then they started using our liquid mag, and they haven't been. They've slept so great recently, and then they said they've been up at 6 a.m. I think they get up at 6 a.m. and they want to sleep a little bit later. And I was like, I'm only laughing because we get up super early, and that's okay. Anyone can get up whenever they want. But and they said I want to sleep, or maybe it wasn't 6 a.m. Maybe it was 4 to 6. They were struggling. Like they usually up every hour throughout the night. But now they're sleeping straight till between 4 and 6, but they want to sleep for a couple hours, so they're not up at all. So that was really nice. That was a really nice compliment. But for kids in particular, everyone can benefit from magnesium, and kids in particular as well. Restless legs, growing pains. There's a lot of benefits there, especially with kids and helping them improve their health. So easing into magnesium would definitely be a suggestion in my opinion. Cooking home dinner. Vivian says you're right about the positives. Cooking at home, dinners together, more quality time for families. Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing with censorship. Like, there's a lot of censorship going on, and I know these are subjects that are quite controversial. I won't get into them too much, but I do like to touch on them a little bit, poke the bear just a little bit. But that's the thing with the censorships. I think, like, there's a lot of people getting blocked. You can't say certain words. You can't share your opinions. You can't reply. You can't post this or that. Like, and there's a lot of people dealing with that, like I did, just over these last couple of days. And I feel like that's a good thing. I really do, because we're so, I don't know what the word, addicted. Like, we're so focused on one area. Like, we only have conversations on social media. Like, we only have conversations electronically. So maybe now we go back and we pick up the phone and we have phone conversations. Crazy, right? Like, I really enjoy when someone calls me, like every once in a while. Suzanne is or was in here. She's called a couple times to put in an order. That's pretty cool. And that's not just something we can do full time yet until we get full time support, but that's really nice. And I do a lot of voice message. That's better. That's easy for me to do voice message than text. But I just think that spending quality time together is. Oh, Suzanne says I'm still here. Spending quality time together. I just feel like we have we do and we will have more of an opportunity to be family oriented, community oriented. Like, this one's a tough one right now to talk about, is the shipping. But the shipping ports in Los Angeles, Vancouver, I know particularly because we live like in LA, you can actually see, we live across the street from we have a place across the street from the ocean. You can see the boats piled up, lined up, waiting to get into the ports. Crazy, right? But those those are, in most cases, like, those aren't handmade. They're not homemade products. Those products aren't supporting a community. In most cases, those products are supporting giant corporations. And I don't know if people want to hear this, but I feel like it's a good thing. Like, I feel like people are almost going to be forced to go support their neighbor. They're going to go and we got all these little artisan shops, or I call them artesian shops. I feel like the word should be artesian, but all these little artisan shops where it's homemade, or it's woodwork, or it's not cheap plastic that's going to break, made in the manufacturer across the country, or in another country. And I just feel like there's a lot of good if we could change our mind a little bit, or our perspective. Like, more communities, more families, more connection, more personalization, more supporting local, instead of the other mindset of a lack. Like, we're not going to have stuff on the shelves. Prices are going to go up. I can't afford this. I can't afford like, whatever it is. Like, anything could be negative if we put it that way, but we could find positives in everything too. And I'm really hoping. That's my optimism. That's my hope. And I think that's what gets me through the day and gets me through the week. When you hear, I'm involved too, or I'm on social media all day, and you see people, like, all the negative posts and comments and videos, and it's endless. And you go down, you got to dig yourself out of the rabbit hole. And then some days, like, you think about the craziness that's happening in the world, and you're like, how could this possibly be happening? And the only thing that gets me through the day is the belief that things have to get better, and things are going to get better in an extreme rate. Like, things are going to they probably get worse before they get better, but once we hit that rock bottom, they're going to get so much better that the world is going to change. And that's why I said, like, when I was talking about businesses, like businesses or like some businesses are waiting for things to go back to normal. Things are never going to be back to that normal that we knew. But I feel like as we adapt and as we change, we're going to be more connected to family, more connected to communities, and we're going to, things are going to get better. Like things have to get better, especially when they're so bad. Like I got to believe that. At any rate, I'm going to wrap things up here. I always enjoy coming in here and hanging out with you guys on Friday Morning Live. So if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And if you're watching me live, I always appreciate you guys coming in and having conversations with me and hanging out. I told you earlier we got some pictures coming up. You have to check out I'll put some up on this group. We're also on Instagram. Just got on Telegram. And we're on TikTok as well. I know that there's a lot of Facebook users that just want to use Facebook, but a lot of you guys know that I told you I talked about I wasn't able to get on for 2 or 3 days or 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. So I had to find different avenues and different options, and Telegram was one of them. And it's quite different, but it's mostly a messaging app. But I feel like things got to change and things got to adapt, and that's including social media. So if you're just stuck on one platform and you're not able to get on, for example, that's how you connect with your people, your family, your friends, and if that's taken away, like I guess Facebook was down for a whole day. If that's how you connect, I really feel like we got to have different avenues and different options. But I'm also hoping that it's not going to be so much social media. Like I said, there's going to be more interaction, more face-to-face, more phone calls. Ben says positive thoughts and vibes. That's right. And then Sue, sorry I missed your comment. Sue said, up at 4:30. Love mornings. I love mornings too. Mornings are my favorite time of day, without question. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me live here, and have a great weekend. Happy Halloween, and stay tuned for some of my pictures coming up being posted on this page and in our groups. They are amazing. What name am I using on Telegram? It's we have a new group that has started on Telegram, and that is True Form Life. Thank you for asking, Suzanne. I can send you that link, and if anyone else wants to join me on Telegram, I'll send you that link as well. That platform is a bit more freedom of speech. I don't know if there's any other way to say it. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of things that you can't say anymore, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's not a good thing, but everyone has their own opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But a lot of people are going to different platforms these days, and that's one of the top ones. And I want to be there, ready for when I guess business. Like I do it for business mostly, right? I want to be there, ready to go, and like already know how to use it once more of our audience comes there. And I've already started posting and having conversations there, so there's tons and tons of people going there daily. So you should definitely consider that. TikTok is also a big one too, but I struggle with. I'm not like going to dance around. We put our videos up there, don't get me wrong, but I'm not really yet ready to be dancing on a TikTok screen to grow my audience. Not quite my personality, but Vivian says have a great day, and I hope you guys have a great day too. Take care. I can't find the finish button. Oh, there it is.